Welcome back. This is video number 7. We're going to talk about layout elements. Okay, so we're going to scroll down and let's add some layout elements. So what does that mean? Well, let's go to it. So we've got buttons, we've got columns, we have media and text, we have more, we have page breaks, we have separators and spacers. So as you can see, what this does is it allows you to add a call to action button. So if you want to link to maybe another page or perhaps a buy button or something else, you can do that. You can do columns. So let's go ahead and make a button, click button. So as you can imagine here, you're going to enter the URL of the website that you want to link to. So in this case, we'll just use google.com. Click apply. So you'll need to click this and that's it. Okay, so next you want to change the text. To change the text, you can simply click the mouse here and change the text. So that's the button. Now, of course, you can change the color if you want to. So you can change it to green, you can change it to orange, you can change the text color however you wish, like so. And that's it. So that's a button. So if we go back here and go to layout elements, let's click on columns. So this allows you to add different columns of text. So you can have text over here, and of course you can have text over here. All right, so that's columns. So next up we have media and text. So as you can see, this allows you to add images, and let's say we want to have the text surrounding the image. If you want to do that, that's good here. So you can add the image, you can add the text, and you can add more text over here. So that's basically what it is. And then of course, next we have more. So more is if you can imagine you went to a news site or you went to a big site that had like articles and information. A lot of times you would see something like read more. So they would click read more and then they would be able to see the other information down below. So that's what read more is, and that's what that layout element is. So that comes in handy, especially when you have such a long page. So next we have page break. So that's a page break. So that allows you to have several pages. So the only time you would really use that is if you had a very, very long page and you don't want people to have to scroll. They would simply be able to go to the next page if they choose to do so. So it just makes it easier on the end user. Separator is simply something like a divider, like that. And next we have spacer. So just as it says, this allows you to create spaces in between the blocks. So if you don't want your blocks to be too cluttered and close together, you would use this. Now you can change the height in pixels right here. So let's say I'm thinking, well, that's too much of a space. So I want something like 50. So you can see that you can change the height. And that's it. So that covers the formatting blocks. Hello and welcome to video number 8. So if you're not ready for Gutenberg, how do you revert back to the classic editor? So like many people, you may not be ready for Gutenberg. In fact, if you do a search for it, you're going to see a huge amount of negative reviews. And this is simply because of the learning curve. It's not necessarily because it's bad. In fact, if you see, it's clearly a lot better than the classic editor in so many ways. But let's say, for example, you have a client who has a website and they just don't want to go over the learning curve and they're editing the site themselves and they're just frustrated and they're like, I want to go back to the classic editor. If that is the case, then I'm going to give you some options. There are 2 ways for you to switch back to the old classic editor that you may be used to. Number one, option one is to install the Classic Editor WordPress plugin. And number two, you can disable the Gutenberg WordPress plugin. Now, bear in mind that option one is what most of you are going to implement. Option two, and the reason why I included this was because some of your clients or some websites that might be outdated, that haven't been updated, may be utilizing the Gutenberg WordPress plugin. But nowadays, from now and on, all of the WordPress updates include the Gutenberg editor built into it. So if that's the case, you will need to use option one. Option two is very obvious. If somebody installed the Gutenberg WordPress plugin, they would simply need to disable it. So what I'm going to do now is to show you how to install the Classic Editor WordPress plugin. So we're going to hop on over to the website. And to do that, you simply go to plugins, you go to the add new plugin, you go over here, you enter the keyword Classic Editor. This is the Classic Editor. As you can see, it enables the previous Classic Editor and the old style Tiny MCE. So you click Install Now, click Activate, and that's it. So now that the old Classic Editor plugin has been installed, you don't want to go ahead and edit right away just yet. What you need to do is click on Settings. So this allows you to customize the editor a little bit. So formatting, you're not going to need to worry about this right here. But by default, it'll convert emoticons like the smiley face and all of that to actual graphics. So as you can see, it says default editor for all users. We got the Classic Editor, allow users to switch editors. So we've got the block editor here and the Classic Editor, so you can allow them to switch back and forth. Honestly, if you have clients and they just don't like the editors, I would just disable it, click no, unless they ask you, hey, can you switch it back? Because otherwise it will literally confuse them. So that's it. What we need to do now is simply go back to Posts. We click on Add New. And there we go. So now we are back to the old Classic Editor. So if you're used to that, you don't have to worry about the blocks or anything like that. We're back to normal. And that's it. That's how easy it is to revert back to the old Classic Editor. So like I said, option two really is only there if your client is using an old website. But for the majority of the cases, 99.9% of the time, you're going to utilize option number one. Okay, just want to say congratulations. If you've reached the end of this course, that's great. And now we're going to talk about more editor options. Now, besides the Gutenberg and Classic Editor, there are actually more editor options available commercially. Now, what I mean by that is that there are other plugins that have different editors that look nice. Some of them include Thrive Themes, WP Bakery, and Elementor. Now, each has its pros and cons. They have their strengths and weaknesses. And really what it comes down to is which one do you like the best? So you saw Gutenberg. Most of these are very similar to Gutenberg and they utilize blocks, but they just look a lot more nicer and they have a lot more options. So that's really the main difference. So we like Elementor the most because it's super easy and more importantly, super fast. One thing to note is that as you begin to add more plugins to your WordPress site, it will actually slow things down. So what we've done is when we've tested things, we found that Elementor it has a lot of features, but it doesn't have a lot of coding. So it runs really, really fast and it won't slow your website down. So with that said, like I said, Thrive Themes and WP Baker are really, really good choices. So let's go ahead and hop on over to those websites and show you these in action. Okay, so let me talk about the differences before we actually install Elementor as a plugin. So if we go up at the top here, we've got WP Bakery Page Builder. And as you can see, between the three of these, there are millions of people that use three of these editors. So it really comes down to which one do you like the best and which one fits your business the best or your website. So as you can see, this one costs $45. And if you scroll down, you can get an idea of what it looks like. Now, we've used WP Bakery before, and it's really decent. There's a lot of templates in it that are built in. In fact, Thrive Themes and Elementor have the same thing. So for all of these, you'll find templates. You can find and you can look through the templates, and if you like them, all you have to do is simply click them and you get the design. So as you can see, the main difference between these and Gutenberg is Gutenberg does not give you templates. You are building everything from scratch. Same goes for the classic editor. So these take your design level to a whole new level. So this is WP Baker. You can see the features here. So there's a lot of things you can do. So to get here is wpbakery.com. Next up is Thrive Themes. That's thrivethemes.com. Now, Thrive Themes is a lot different than just an editor. They have tons of plugins that go into things like opt-in pages. You can create sales pages. You can create funnel pages. You can do all sorts of things. So it's not just an editor. So you can see here, you can create forms. You can create all sorts of light boxes. You can do A/B testing. You can do a huge amount. And this is something that a lot of businesses typically use because it has so many different features. So it's very, very feature rich. So as you can see, here are the features right here. Now it's a little more expensive. As you can see, it's $147 for 15 licenses. But remember, WP Bakery was about $47 for a single license. It's about $67, which is only $20 more for one license for this. And the next one is Elementor. Elementor is mainly an editor like WP Bakery or Gutenberg. But like I said, the difference is it's more similar to the WP Bakery in the sense that it is an editor, and it also allows you to pick and choose templates. And then those templates, you can click a button and then it adds it as a page. So I'm going to show you that in action. Elementor has a free download, as you can see here. But what I found is Elementor is super fast. It's super easy to create really good looking sites with ease. So you're kind of getting an idea here. Scroll down here. So it says built for professionals from freelancers to agencies. So you can use this, let's say, for example, if you're like a web designer, a website master, or anything like that. So this is great to use for your clients. You can also build forms like Thrive Themes to build a list. It's developer friendly, so you can edit the code very, very easily. And it's built with blocks. So I'm going to show you Elementor in just a second. So we'll go back over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and deactivate the classic editor because I don't want that. What I do want, I'm going to click on Add New. We're going to go type in Elementor. So that's Elementor. Make sure we spell it right, like that. So immediately upon entering the keyword, we can see that here, Elementor Page Builder. Now bear in mind they have a pro version which you can buy, but you can do a lot with their free editor. Just the free level itself, there's a lot of really good features. And that's why I like it. And that's why I feel comfortable with recommending that to you. Now, as you can see here, it says welcome to Elementor. You can watch that. We're going to create our first page. So we click on this. Now, what you're going to see is you're going to see your website. So if you have widgets on the right side or the left side or the header at the top, you're going to see that as well. Now, this is the Elementor editing box. So all you have to do is simply drag a widget here from over here, or you can click the plus sign similar to the Gutenberg and add a section. So we have intersections, we have headings, we have text editors, images, videos, buttons, spacers, dividers, Google Maps, icons. So as you can see, Gutenberg does not have Google Maps or icons. So there's more. You got image box, you have icon boxes, you have star ratings, you have image galleries, image carousels, icon lists, progress bar. So let's say, for example, that this were to be an opt-in page. So if we clicked progress bar and we dragged it over here and we dropped it, there we go. That's it. It's super easy. And of course you have the settings over here that you can edit. And of course I can go back over here and click plus. Let's say we want a section here. Let's have 2 columns. So we click plus and we can go back over here. Let's add maybe heading here. And then of course, we'll go back over here and we can add maybe an image. So you can see that it's actually a lot easier than Gutenberg when it comes to editing. So that's the free version. Now, let's say, for example, that you want to utilize one of their templates. So if that's the case, I'm just going to delete these here like that. I'm going to click on this folder here. So click on the folder. What it's going to do is it's going to allow you to enter their library of templates. So you can see which ones are free and which ones are on the pro level. The pro level has this little icon that says pro. You can't use that unless you have the pro level plugin. So you have to purchase it. But I tell you, it's definitely worth it. Now, as you scroll down, you can see blocks actually. So blocks over here, and then we have pages over here, and then you have templates over here. So blocks essentially are different media or different blocks or areas that you can add. So for example, you can, let's say I like this, I'm going to add this, and I'm going to add this, and then I'm going to add this. So that's basically the method of blocks. It's very similar to Gutenberg. And then of course you have pages, which are the templates. So if you scroll down here, there's all sorts of really cool looking templates and designs that really can take your site to a whole new level to make it look professional. So let's say, for example, that we're selling something and that we like this one here, or yeah, let's do this one. Okay, never mind. That's pro. So let's scroll down and find something that we really like. So let's say, for example, that we're editing our website and it's still in construction mode, but it's coming soon and it's coming in 2 weeks. If that's the case, let's say we like this one here. Okay, that's pro. Okay, we'll just do this one here. Okay, click insert. That's all you have to do. You just wait a few seconds and there you go. So it will insert that template in here and all you have to do is change the text. You can change the images and there you go. So that's Elementor. I highly recommend that you can upgrade to the pro version, but as you can see, utilize the free version first. If you feel like you need to go pro, go pro. If you don't, stick with the free. So I hope you enjoyed this course. You can see the differences between Gutenberg, the classic editor, WP Bakery, Thrive Themes, and Elementor.